and then what it's like to be a transfer student here on our campus. And then at the end of my presentation, if you have any questions, you can just add those to the chat and I will answer those at the end. You can add questions at any point throughout the presentation, but I'll get to as many of those as I can at the end. Now, one thing to note about asking questions, make sure that they're general in nature. If they're pretty lengthy with a lot of specifics about your situation, I may not be able to answer those in this format, but you can, of course, always email us at admission@ucf.edu for some of those more detailed questions, and we'll answer you there. But again, you can ask questions throughout in the chat. You will remain muted this whole time. So don't worry about raising your hand or anything like that. Just throw those questions in the chat. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If someone could just give me a thumbs up once you're able to see my screen, that would be great. Let's see. All righty. So if you can see that screen and someone just give me a thumbs up, thank you so much. All right, we're going to get started. All right, so here's just a couple things we will talk about today. First, the admission process, how to get to UCF, some helpful hints and tricks for transfer students specifically, some support resources that are on our campus, some student engagement opportunities that you have, and then some next steps once you have submitted your application. All right. All right, so for my transfer students, we always recommend that you apply early. Now, for transfer students, we say early is about 6 months prior to when you wish to begin. So if you are thinking about starting with us this fall, right now is a great time to go ahead and submit your application. You can, of course, submit an application at any point up until the final deadline, but the earlier you submit your application, the better, because we are able to get your documents in and make sure that everything is in line well in advance. The application completion deadlines, you'll see those there on the screen. Summer, March 1st, fall, July 1st, and spring, November 1st. Those are completion deadlines, so you want to make sure you have all your documents in by that date as well. If we receive your documents after this date, we can still review your application, but we just can't guarantee you'll get a decision in time for that semester. All right, so just so we all know what a transfer student is, we define a transfer student as someone who has graduated from high school and then completed 12 or more credit hours after high school graduation. So if you are out and you are still in high school and you're earning college credit, that's great. But this presentation really isn't for you. This is for those of us who have already graduated high school and are earning credit after high school, 12 or more credits. You'll see on there it says high school dual enrollment students should apply as FTICs, which stands for first time in college freshmen, unless they've completed 12 credit hours after graduation. The admission requirements do depend on the number of credit hours that you've completed, and I'll go through the specifics of all of those in a couple slides. And we do give admission preference to students who've earned the AA degree from a Florida public community or state college. All right. So first, I'm going to start with our lower division transfer students. So if you're someone who you graduated high school, but you have earned less than 30 credit hours, you're going to fall into this lower transfer category. Now, on the screen, you'll see what we need for that category of students. You are still going to be evaluated based on your high school credentials. So we're still going to be looking at your high school GPA, and we're still going to need an SAT, ACT, or CLT test score. Now, this category of transfer is not as competitive as our first time in college freshmen are, but it is still very competitive. You still want to have a competitive GPA on the 4.0 scale and a competitive test score as well. You also have to be in good academic standing at your last collegiate institution. And we are going to need official transcripts from any school that you've attended, high school, where you graduated from high school, and any college that you've attended as well. All right, our next category of transfer is going to be my students that are falling between 30, you have more than 30 credit hours, but you have less than 60 credit hours. For this category, we no longer going to need SAT, ACT, or CLT test scores. We are not going to be looking at your high school GPA in this category, but there are a couple course requirements that you have to have completed in this category. So you're going to have one English composition class. If you're in the Florida school system, that's going to be ENC 1101. and you need to have a C or better in that class. And then you're going to need one college level mathematics class at the college algebra level or higher. So some examples would be college algebra, statistics, trigonometry. Any of those would be fine. Things that won't count are going to be things like developmental math or intermediate algebra. Those will not meet that requirement. So keep that in mind when you're picking out your classes. You also have to show that you have done either 2 years of high school foreign language or 2 semesters of college foreign language. Either of those will do, but that is a requirement for this category of transfer students. You want to make sure you have that completed as well. You'll still want to have a competitive GPA and be in good academic standing at your last institution. Now, something I always say is the further you're getting away from high school and earning more college credits, the less competitive it is going to be admitted as a transfer student. So, closer to high school, more competitive, further away from high school, more credits, more history of succeeding at the collegiate level. It's going to be less competitive to get in. You will want to submit all of your official your high school transcript for that foreign language if you took that, and your college transcripts as well. All right, our upper division transfer students, and this is our most popular route and pool of applicants for transfer students. These are going to be those of you who have 60 or more credit hours. So you're still going to want to have a competitive GPA. We do not need test scores. We do not need high school credentials. But now we're looking for two of those English composition courses, two college level math courses at the college algebra level or higher. And then, of course, the foreign language requirement is there as well. All right, so like I said, that 60 or more credit hour is our most popular category of transfer student, and that is because of this program that we have called Direct Connect to UCF. Now, if you attend any of the schools that are listed on the screen and you earn your AA degree from one of these institutions, you remain in good academic standing, you're guaranteed admission to UCF through this program. So now you still have to submit an application, turn in all your documents. It's not just like you show up on the first day of school and you're in. There's still work that you have to do in advance. But assuming that you meet those requirements, you graduate, you get your AA degree, you will be admitted to the school. All right, so now we're just going to talk about a couple of helpful hints and tricks, things to remember. So, the first thing that we always tell students, and this is seems obvious, but it's just really important: pay attention to your deadlines. Know when the application is due. Know when you need to have your materials turned into us. Um, your application could be delayed if we do not have your materials. So if you're not checking your Future Night portal and staying on top of that, there's a chance that we will not be able to read your application in time. So pay attention to those deadlines. And like I said, apply way before that last day deadline to ensure that we have everything we need from you. Another helpful tip that we give is to pick a major before you transfer. Now, there's a couple reasons that we say to do this. Of course, freshman students, when they come in, they have a little bit more time to explore and kind of figure out what they want to study. Transfer students are often coming in with a lot of credit, especially those of you in the 60 or more category. So you're going to be jumping right into major specific courses. So it's really important that you know what major you think you want to pursue. You can start taking prereqs at your community or state college to really stay on track once you're here at UCF to jump into those major specific courses. There will be a spot on your application where you can indicate which major you would like to be a part of. But one thing to note is we do not admit based on major. So just by putting a major on your application does not necessarily mean that you're automatically going to jump into that major, that you're just telling us which major you're choosing. When we admit to the university, we admit to the entire university, not just engineering, not just music or theater or anything like that. Some majors do have additional requirements, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So just know what you put on your application, it can be changed, but it is helpful to go ahead and pick a major ahead of time. Again, you want to regularly check that Future Night portal. That's where we're going to send any and all updates we have about your application. So if we need updated documents, if we're missing something, that'll all be housed in your Future Night portal. And then another helpful trick is once you have been admitted, we recommend you register for early orientation. The earlier orientation you go to, the more available seats there will be in classes to register. So you definitely would, if you have the opportunity to register for an earlier orientation, you're going to want to do that over waiting till some of those last ones because then the amount of seats in classes will be significantly less. All right, so like I was saying, some of our majors on campus, there are additional requirements that you have to meet before you're officially in that major. So if any of you in here have already applied and you're seeing on your application something like engineering pending, that means that there are certain requirements that have to be met before you can remove that pending status. Now, sometimes it's just prereq coursework that you have to complete before you're in that major. Sometimes it's additional things like another application. For example, nursing has a separate application just for nursing that you have to do. Maybe it's a portfolio. Some of our art programs, you have to submit a portfolio before you're admitted to a program, or things like music and theater that would require an audition before you remove that pending status. So keep that in mind whenever you're picking out which major you want to be in. The restricted access ones, those are going to be the ones that just have certain courses that you have to complete prior to being in that program. And then the specialized admission, those are going to be the ones that either have a separate application, an audition, a portfolio, things of that nature. You can see those requirements on the undergraduate catalog on our website. You can also just contact those departments specifically. They also have it on their websites with more details about when those deadlines are for those specific programs. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about some support resources on our campus for transfer students. So we do have on our campus the Transfer Center in Trevor Colburn Hall. You can utilize the Transfer Center prior to being admitted. So they are there for you before you transfer, and they're there for you once you are admitted and become a transfer student at UCF. They can help you with things like your application. They can help you with figuring out which major you'd like to pick. They do coaching. They also do transfer credit evaluations, looking at your credit from your previous schools and kind of guiding you down that path. So I highly recommend reaching out to the Transfer Center while you're in the application process, and then once you're a student here as well. Their contacts on the screen, transfer center at ucf.edu, or if you want to visit us at campus, our office is in the Duke Energy Welcome Center, and Trevor Coleman Hall is not too far from our office, and that's where the Transfer Center is. All right, here's some other resources that students typically use as transfer students. Anyone who is military or a veteran, we have an office for that on campus. Highly recommend you reach out to them for all the specifics about your military benefits. We have multicultural academic and support services, SARC, which is an academic resource center. You can get tutoring there, any kind of academic support you might need. Accessibility services, if you need any accommodations for your classes, definitely reach out to them. And then there's a couple other places on campus that are just some academic resources for you. We also like to point you to the Transfer Credit Equivalency Portal. That is on our website. If you are thinking, I went to the University of Alabama and I'm not really sure which math course my math I took there is going to count for here at UCF, you can hop onto that portal, put in your school, and it's going to show you every single credit that we've previously accepted from someone. Now, if you've taken courses and you do not see them on that list, have no fear. It doesn't mean that your credit isn't going to count. If you attend an accredited institution, it's going to count. It's just a matter of we've never had a student transfer that credit in before. So you may have to petition that credit with things like a syllabus, examples of coursework. It'll just depend. If you're in the Florida state system, most of those credits are a one for one. It's really more my out of state friends who might have to do a little bit more research about your credits. All right. Financial aid and scholarships. We do have a couple limited scholarships in our office from the Office of Undergraduate Admissions for transfer students. These are specifically for those of you who have attended a Florida public community or state college and are earning or have earned the AA degree. These have a separate application that you can fill out on our website. It's opening up very soon, and it is usually due around April 15th. You must be planning to begin with us during the fall term to be considered for this specific scholarship, and the minimum GPA is a 3.5. These are pretty competitive, and most students who earn these have well above a 3.5 for their GPA. So if you think you fall into that category, definitely apply for that because scholarships are great. It's free money, and you don't want to miss out on that. We also will accept your Florida Bright Futures. If you have a Florida prepaid plan, any other external scholarships you might be earning. Now, one thing to note is sometimes people say, can I bring my scholarship with me from Seminole State or Valencia? If that award was earned at that school for that school, no, you will probably not be able to bring it over with you. But if you have like a private scholarship, maybe it's earned from a local community organization or something like that, it is likely that we'll be able to accept those. If you have any more specific questions about the FAFSA or about financial aid, you'll definitely want to reach out to the financial aid office because they can answer those more specific questions about financial aid. We just definitely want to highlight this scholarship that we have for transfer students. All right, so a little bit about campus life. We do have over 650 clubs and organizations on our campus. So there's tons of ways for you to get involved on our campus. Our clubs and organizations range from your traditional sororities and fraternities, faith-based organizations, clubs that are specific to your major or to your future career choice. So there are just tons of opportunities for you to make friends and find community on our campus. We are a Division I school, a part of the Big 12, so we have amazing athletics on our campus as well, and as a student, you can go to all of those athletic activities for free. Our gym, the Recreation and Wellness Center, the RWC, is really awesome. You get access to that as a student as well. And then we have tons of study abroad opportunities as well. You can check that out at UCF Global. They will help you with all the planning for that. We have semester-long study abroad, we have summer-long study abroad, some that are just a couple weeks, some that are months. So if that's something that you are interested in as a part of your college experience, you can definitely do that at UCF. And then we have Transfer Nights, which is an organization just for transfer students. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about some next steps. So after you've been admitted, you submit your application, you receive notification that we have admitted you. Here are a couple things that you want to keep in mind as you're planning to start here that's going to make your life a little bit easier if you stay on top of it. These things. The first one's going to be residency. So whether you have lived in Florida for 2 months or you've lived in Florida for your whole life, you still have to prove your residency. So that will be in your Future Night portal. It'll prompt you to submit your documents for residency. And you definitely want to do that. You don't want to be surprised the first week of school that you're being charged out of state tuition if you should, in fact, be being charged in state tuition. So stay on top of that residency. There's a couple other documents you need to submit, your immunization records. You want to figure out your housing. Here on UCF's campus, we don't have a ton of on campus housing for transfer students, very limited, but we have tons of off campus options very close to the campus that are meant for students. So you'll want to research that as well. I'm gonna log into that My UCF account because you're gonna be start getting a lot of information through that versus your Future Night portal. You wanna register for orientation, again, hopefully one of those earlier ones, because without orientation, you cannot register for classes. So you definitely wanna make sure you're registered for orientation. And then this one's very important. You're going to want to submit all of your official final documents. So, your transcripts from your colleges. If you need to prove your foreign language, you might need to submit your high school transcript. But this is the one that most people forget. It's test scores. So, let's say in high school you took AP, IB, ACE, or CLEP scores. Even if you're not using that credit, you still have to submit those test score reports to us. So, it's very, very important that you don't forget that because like I said, you will be surprised the first week of school when a hold goes on your account because you didn't turn in your AP scores from when you were in high school. So make sure you get those turned in so that you don't run into any holds or you don't get your financial aid dispersed in time. All right. So that was a quick 15-minute presentation. Here are just some ways that you can get in touch with us after this. And then, of course, I am going to go through as many of your questions as I can. But the best way I recommend to get in touch with us is going to be admission@ucf.edu. We answer this all day, every day by real life people in our office. So definitely reach out that way. We do take walk-ins 9 to 5, Monday through Fridays, and then we also host virtual appointments on select Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then our social media at UCF Admissions. That's where we post about any events we have going on campus, all those deadlines that I mentioned. And then we also have a live chat feature on our website as well. That when one of our team members is available, we can answer you that way as well. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now, and then I will start answering some of your questions. All right, like I said, I'm gonna get through as many of these as I can. If they're too specific, I'm not gonna be able to answer them, but I will do my best. So someone said, what is competitive GPA for you guys? So like I said, the closer you are to high school, the more competitive it is. So you're still gonna be looking at those higher 3.0s and aboves from a transfer freshman. For transfer sophomores, upper level transfers, we want to see, well above a 2.5 at least. But direct connects, you have to have the 2.0 and remain in good academic standing. If you're applying as an upper division but took your foreign language in high school, do you still need high school transcripts? It depends. If you've earned your AA degree, usually we know that you have your foreign language because you couldn't have gotten it without the AA in Florida. But we may need them. It really just depends. What if you've attended a community college that is not listed on Direct Connect? That's perfectly fine, but Direct Connect is the only program that has the guaranteed admission. If I already completed all my AA requirements and graduated, but doing the prereqs for computer science, can I still apply to transfer? Yes, absolutely. Lower and upper, is that synonymous with undergraduate and graduate? No. So this is my presentation is just for undergraduate students. If you are trying to be in a graduate program, that's completely separate, completely different. All of those categories I talked about today are just undergraduates, and it's based off the credit hour, not on degrees earned. Now, if you have already earned a bachelor's degree and you're looking to be second degree seeking, that is also technically a transfer degree. But if you're looking for anything graduate level, that's not going to be our office. It's going to be a completely separate application. Where do transfer students apply when submitting their applications? So on our website, you're going to go, if you search UCF undergraduate admissions applications, the first one's going to be the freshman one. Scroll down and it says other, that's transfer. Student already has an AA from an out-of-state school. Do they still need to submit their SAT and ACT scores? It all depends on those credits. So if we look at your credits from your AA, you have the Englishes, you have the maths, we probably won't need test scores. Palm Beach State College is not a direct connect partner. But again, if you earn that AA, you do get admission preference, even though it's not direct connect. Okay, I'm trying to find the ones that'll benefit the most people. What would be the optimal deadline for fall apps? The very last day deadline is July 1st. Optimal is going to be about 6 months before. So right now, February, March, that'd be great. Where do I register for orientation? You cannot register for orientation until you've been admitted and orientation has opened, but you'll get a notification like, hey, it's time to register for orientation, and then you'll be able to register then. I believe that summer registration is going to open. Don't quote me on this, but I think around February, maybe March at the latest, but probably February. Um, yes, high school Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 totally counts for your foreign language credit. Already answered that one. Okay, let's see how many I can get through in the next 8 minutes. Courses are offered. Someone says, "Is there a way to see what courses are offered online versus in person, prior to enrolling?" Yes, once you've been admitted, you'll be able to access, when classes are. You can kinda start doing that research. Note that some of our programs can be taken fully online, but many of our programs cannot. So, some just to name a few off the top of my head, all of the engineering programs, those are in person, business in person. So just be aware of that. You can search right now UCF online and see all the programs that are fully online. And then, of course, some programs have some classes that are offered online or in mixed mode, but make sure you're aware if your program is an online program or a non-online program. How do you make a virtual appointment? If you search virtual admissions counselor appointment, we open those appointments 1 week in advance. They do fill up pretty fast, so I recommend, for example, if you want an appointment next Thursday, check it today. The nursing application is on the nursing school's website. Well, the information about it is. I don't think you can actually access the application until you've been admitted to the university. Certainly major. Yeah, someone said, "Does any major chosen will have an education plan similar?" Yes. Once you've been admitted, you'll receive your degree audit and your transfer summary report. You'll see what classes you already have, what classes you need. You can also just search the undergraduate catalog right now and see every class that you would need to take for the degree of your choosing. That's a public document that you can look at. There is not a way. Someone asked, is there a way to talk to a success coach before you've been admitted? There's not really. Sometimes they will email and kind of give you general guidance, but as far as the exact classes that you need to take, that's probably not going to happen until you're admitted. I see that you said you're a direct connect. Talk to your success coaches at your current college because they're familiar with our plans. As part of direct connect, they are familiar with what classes you should take. They should be. Yes. So someone said, how do I know which category I fall into if I'm currently taking classes? We want to know how many credits you will have earned by the time you get here. So if right now you have, let's say, 55 credits, but you're enrolled in 3 classes, and when the semester's over, you'll have 61 credits, then you would apply as a 60 or more credit hour applicant. Good question. Someone said, it's my last semester at Valencia. Can I register now? I'm assuming you mean apply now, or do I have to wait? No, you should apply now. Don't wait. Um, we may ask for you we may not be able to give you a decision, like, we may need to see that you've graduated first, it just depends with Direct Connect, but definitely apply now. Um, Someone said, "Do I have to have my GEP program completed before applying?" No, you just wouldn't be a Direct Connect, or you wouldn't fall like, it just depends on which category you fall into. But no, you don't have to have that done before you get here. You may have to have it done before you start a certain major, but again, that doesn't have anything to do with admission. How limited would signing up for a fully online semester be? Depends on the program, depends on the class. Uh, it depends if you're doing an online program, then like you'll probably be fine, but it just really depends. Um, okay. Yes, someone said, "Do you still need to submit AP, IB, ACE, or similar exam scores after admission, even if you have 30 or more credits?" Absolutely. Yes, you do. Don't forget I said that because that is what most people receive holds for is they've been out of high school for a couple years. They forgot about all those AP classes they took and they don't submit the scores. So yes, definitely submit those. Are AccuPlacer test scores accepted? I'm not sure what that is, so I'm going to say probably not. 12. Yes. So someone said, I'm a freshman. I only have 9 credits, but I will have over 12. Yes. So you would apply as a transfer student and just make sure you indicate how many you will have earned total. Okay, 4 more minutes. Let's see how we do. Earlier with a high school transcript, then apply again with a transcript. Yes. So someone said, if I've applied before and I sent you guys my documents, will they still be on file for a new application? Yes, they will. Now, that doesn't mean we won't necessarily like we may need updated ones. So for example, if you applied while you were in high school and your high school transcript is an in progress one that we have on file, we're probably going to need a new one now that you've graduated that's finalized. Or if you went to Valencia a year ago and you've been going to Valencia for another year and you have all this new credit, we're probably going to need an updated one. However, if you went to Valencia and graduated and then applied a year later, we probably won't need an updated one because you don't have an updated one. So, yeah, keep that in mind. I got a question about international students. We have a whole page on our website about the requirements for international students. So definitely check that out. It's very similar requirements in terms of needing documents. The only difference is if you've attended college outside of the United States, we need a credit evaluation done of your previous school. So all that information's on our website. You can transfer any semester. Someone asked, can I transfer for spring? Any semester as long as you meet that deadline. Yeah. Okay, some of these are a little long, so I'm probably gonna have to breeze through them. Let's see. Already answered that. Yeah, someone said, if I'm currently enrolled, should I wait? You should get an in progress transcript. If you have credit, get an in progress transcript. Don't wait. The longer you wait, the less likely it is for you to be admitted because we won't have your documents in time. Doo-doo-doo. Someone asked about IEPs from high school. We don't necessarily need those for admission purposes. You might use that for accessibility services or something like that, but not as a part of your application. If you graduated high school with your AA degree, do you still need test scores? If you have not taken any classes since, yes, you do need test scores. Eligible for transfer, 30 credits, 5 minutes. Yes, anyone with over 12 credit hours. I don't know if I wasn't clear about that. You can totally transfer at any point. If you have over 12 credit hours, you're a transfer student. Someone asked about our application timeline. So that really it's different for every person. For transfer students, our turnaround time is usually pretty quick, assuming that we have all the documents that we need for you. But you can always email us admission@ucf.edu to get an update on the status of your application. Someone asked about some specifics about scholarships. Talk to financial aid. If I'm applying, okay, so one more time. This one says, if I'm applying for fall, I have 48 credit hours, but after spring, I'll have 60. Which bracket am I? You're in upper division because you're going to have 60. ASL does count as a foreign language credit. We have someone asked about career fairs or about recruiting jobs. We do an on-campus job fair for on-campus jobs, and then there's tons of career fairs for jobs outside of our campus, like all the time. Someone said, "Is it possible to get admitted to the College of Sciences if someone is missing some prereqs?" So you apply to the university, you get admitted just to the university, and then from there you work with that college to figure out what prereqs you need. You can go ahead and send a fall transcript now if you're applying for next fall. That's totally fine. Okay. Someone said, "I go to a private school. Will my credits transfer in?" If your private school is an accredited institution, then yes, your credit will transfer in. It just might not be a one for one for which classes they count for, but it's going to count for credit if you go to a school that is accredited. And you can just search online to see if your school meets the accreditation requirements. Are you guaranteed housing if you live too far from UCF? No, there is no guaranteed housing for anyone. Freshman transfer, that is up to you to figure out. All right, I'm gonna do like 2 more and then we have to wrap it up. Do you recommend checking out the campus tours? Yes, please come see us. We have campus tours Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and at 2 p.m. And it will really get you a good feel for our campus. So definitely do that. Someone said, "Where do I look up the transfer credits?" Just search transfer credit equivalency portal UCF. All right, I'm gonna do one more. Let's see which one is it gonna be. I'll do this one. Do you have to have your prereqs done if you've already done your AA and you're transferring in? No, you can do those once you get here. That's perfectly fine. Journalism, some of my majors online. Um, mm. Someone said, "When I select my major, it says it's only online." We don't have any programs that are only online programs, so that might be something that you can figure out once you get here. Just double check the undergraduate catalog, make sure that you're seeing the right title for your major. All right, that's all I have time for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Again, if you think of any more questions after this, email us admission@ucf.edu and we will get back to you as quickly as possible. Have a great afternoon.